This is my $500,000 watch collection. So today we have the long-awaited watch video. Now, I have had so many requests on my Instagram over the last year, 2 years of, Iman, when will you do a full watch collection video? And I've told you guys many times that it is near enough impossible for me to get all of my watches in one place, between insurance, between not only safety deposit boxes, but my personal vault where I keep other high value items that definitely do not want to be in the house, between the fact that I give my friends watches for extended periods of time, which we'll get onto in just a second. For me to get all of my watches in one place is impossible. And today kind of proves it, because I only have around, I'd say it's 70% of my collection here. And a lot of you guys already know that these pieces are in my collection, but as this is being released in 2 weeks, I'm leaving for Cape Town for 3 months, so I will not be in London. All of these watches are going back into the safety deposit box. I'm not gonna be in London, so I'm just letting one of my buddies stay in my house while I am gone. And I feel terrible that I haven't gotten you guys a watch collection video to date. So I thought, while I have at least 70% of my collection here, and as I said, this is way more than I normally have. I've just been having to rejig some things around with insurance, with some new pieces that I have, with some pieces that I've actually sold, and I'll get onto that in a second. And a couple other things came together synergistically so that today I have 70% of my collection. As I said, I'll go over all the other pieces that aren't here nonetheless. Now, the other thing that I really want to mention is, guys, this video is going to be up for 5 days, and that is it. Now, I have video on my channel of me picking up my Richard Mille, picking up my Nautilus, and both those I have privated. And people have asked me, Iman, why did you make those videos private? It was super inspirational to me. Guys, for you that have seen me over the past 4 or 5 years build my agency from the ground up, for those of you guys who have seen my Zero to Millionaire video, where you literally see me at age of 16 signing my first client, all the way to where we are here in 2020 with me clocking in 100K months with my agency, profit that is. For you guys, you see all of this with inspiration and in the lens of course, he's worked so hard to get to this point. You need to understand that a lot of watch snobs, and I know because I wouldn't say I'm a watch snob myself, but I'm very much in that world. They stumble upon a video of a 20-year-old picking up a $200,000 watch, a $100,000 watch, and they're like, who is this asshole? And I totally understand. I would think the same thing. So that's why I private those videos. And actually, for the time being, I'll unprivate them just so, and you guys who haven't seen those videos, I'll make those available to you. But this video and those videos will be up for 5 days max. Literally just the purpose of this video is because I know so many of you guys have either built up an interest in watches because of me and because of me talking about it so much, or you guys already had a predisposition for horology. So I wanted to get this video to you guys, that I'm gonna take it down, as I said, that I don't need a bunch of watch snobs or people who are just into hypey videos going, who is this dumbass 20-year-old, blah, blah, blah. So this is literally just for my audience, just for your guys' entertainment. So with no further ado, let's get into it. We have the watches here, we have another watch roll here, and as I said, I will go over the pieces that I don't have with me today. And I'm sure Tristan will lace in some photos, B-roll of, you know, various times where, you know, I've worn them, and just so for those of you guys who don't know what the pieces look like or what they look like on the wrist, as I said, you have plenty of content with me rocking the different watches. So the first watch I want to start off with is the one that started everything, and this is a watch that I got when I was 7 years old. Now, this watch right here is a Timex Expedition. And I remember I saved up for the best part of 4 or 5 months to buy this thing when I was 7 years old. It cost me 20 pounds at Argos, and I thought it was the freaking coolest thing ever. This now looks like an army combat green. This was not like this. This is like a vibrant green. It's just after, you know, literally 5 years of wear, I would sleep with my watch every single night. Which now that I think about it, you know, this is a quartz movement, so you can hear the tick. So I literally don't know how I slept with this thing at night. But I thought this thing was the coolest thing ever. I would remember every single time I would try to show off to people, because you can just press there, it doesn't come off. I'll get Tristan to lace in some B-roll, but you can just press the indent here and it glows up. And I don't know, I just thought that was literally the coolest thing ever. So this is a watch that started it all for me, and this still has the correct time. To be honest, I never really wear this piece anymore. There's a little thing here that's meant to come around So that way, obviously, when you strap it in, it has somewhere to tuck into. That's lost somewhere. Literally that happened in the last 6 months, I think. Don't know where it is. So as I said, this is a watch that started it all for me, and I have so much love for this piece. Now, while we have this watch roll out, first of all, this is a Louis Vuitton watch roll, which I hate. Anyone that knows me knows I am, for the most part, pretty low-key. The way that I dress, I like to do no brands, just simple, solid, staple colors. You know, I think I'm very sort of European. And that's the thing, as you grow up, obviously your taste changes, even in watches, you know, and we'll get onto that in just a second. So this, you know, preferably I would have wanted just the black print that they have. I have it on a Louis Vuitton bag that I have, and I love that because it's super under the radar. Most people don't even know it's Louis Vuitton, but they didn't make this roll in that sort of print. So got this, I'll be honest, I don't really like it, but then again, no one really ever sees it, and I don't really have to use this watch roll much anymore, unless obviously I'm traveling and I want to bring a couple watches with me. So staying in line with what's in here, this is a super, super funky piece. And as I said, as you kind of grow your watch collection, you learn a thing or two, and you make a lot of mistakes along the way. So this is actually the third watch I ever bought. This is a Cartier Panthère. And what you'll notice about it is it's a tiny, tiny watch. There's a funny photo that will pop on the screen of Pierce Brosnan, like wearing this in like this, I think like early 80s or something. It actually suits him. Now this is actually the most comfortable watch I've ever worn, and it's a women's watch, to be honest. It's a women's watch these days because obviously watches have gone a lot bigger over the years, but you know, in the 80s, men definitely would have worn this thing. Now the reason I have this watch is because my mom actually was gifted this, a vintage Cartier Panthère. So I actually grew up with this watch. She has the smaller face, and that watch is too old, literally. So this is a watch, and this bracelet and everything about this watch is what I grew up with. And this was the only watch in the household, except for obviously, you know, my sick Timex expedition. So yeah, I don't know why. When I started making some money, I was in LA seeing a client for my agency, and I don't know, I was in the Cartier boutique, and I pulled the trigger on this. After I bought this watch, I actually wore it a ton, but since then it just doesn't really slot into my collection. I'm just holding this at the moment for, you know, for my wife in, you know, 10, 15 years. Or one big theme that you'll start to see is when I don't use watches, I love to give it to other people, like close friends of mine. So my ex-girlfriend, I actually sized this for her, and she wore this for like a solid 6 months. So I think this is a watch that's just gonna sit and not do much for the time being, to be honest. Now, the last watch in this watch winder is another Timex expedition, except this one is a newer model. Now, this watch was actually a gift to me from a client here at the agency. We actually gift new clients of ours watches all the time. I've given clients the Timex Q, the 1978 reissue. You know, many of my clients I've given to that watch. I've given many of my clients the Casio G-Shock, and the Timex Q is right here, the Casio G-Shock. This one, I forget the actual reference, but it's the one that looks like a Royal Oak. Super sick watch. I've given one of my clients a Mickey Mouse Pulsar before. So I've given clients of the agency watches many a time. It's just a nice, clients know that I have a big passion and a love for watches. So they know it's something that's important to me, and it's just, I don't know, all in all, it works out quite nice. But this is actually a gift from a client. I love the sweeping secondhand, just the orange pop on it. Reminds me of the Rolex Milgauss, which I'll get onto at the end of the video, some of the watches that I'm trying to get at the moment. That's one of them. So yeah, this is the last watch in this watch winder, and then we'll get into some of the big boys. So before we get into this box, I'll talk about the watches that I don't actually have with me at the moment. So we have the Rolex Hulk, which Kieran, my right-hand man at greatagency.com, the product manager, he's had that watch for 4 or 5 months actually. And by the way, I know to some of you guys that sounds crazy, but I was actually wearing the Rolex Hulk for a full 5 months earlier this year. I actually took it with me to Cape Town. It was the only watch I took with me, or the only watch of value I took with me. And I wore that exclusively for 5 months. So that watch has gone so much wrist time this year that I don't mind letting one of my team members have it for 4 or 5 months. For me, if a watch isn't sentimental and a watch isn't being worn, I would much rather someone else get some wrist time out of it. So I know a lot of people don't have that viewpoint, but that's just kind of the way I go about things. The next watch that I have is just a classic black sub. That watch has not gotten much wrist time ever, to be honest. And it seems like that theme is continuing. I'm thinking of taking that watch with me to South Africa as my one watch for the 3 months while I'm there. That watch is actually with a friend at the moment for the past month or so. So I'm terrible when I'm trying to get my friends into watches. What I do is I just lend them the watches that I have. And I'm just like, oh, just trust me, just try it for a month, see if you like it, you know, get a feel of what it's like, you know, owning a Rolex, this, that, and then what happens inevitably is they always end up buying one themselves. So that watch is not with me at the moment. Then let's see, the other watch that I don't have with me at the moment is the Patek Philippe 5711R, the rose gold Nautilus. That is my ultimate watch. Like that, to me, if I had to have one watch and that's it for the rest of my life, it would be that watch. And that watch at the moment is actually at not my main safety deposit box. It's at my personal vault at a separate location. As I said, I have a safety deposit box. Like even just getting this stuff here, like you have to inform insurance, you have to talk to the safety deposit box. They bring it in like an armored van, like it's intense. So I've got that one, which is, as I said, very intense, this, that. And then I've got another one, which is just kind of like a bank vault thing where I keep some important legal documents and other little trinkets. So that's actually sitting in there with another one of my watches, which is the Patek Philippe Aquanaut, the rose gold versions. I have videos of me actually buying both those watches, so I'll pop those on the screen and we'll do some little cards for those as well, so you can go out and watch those videos. So I've got those two watches sitting in my vault, and then I have one other watch that's not with me. So technically it's still a part of my collection, but I'm selling it right now, and that is the Patek Philippe 5711A. So I've got the steel blue face version of the Nautilus, and something about that watch I just never really connected to. Now if I was to get that watch at retail price, I would never in a million years sell it. Oh, and another thing I'll mention is which ones I've gotten at retail and which ones I've had to pay market value for. So the 5711R I had to pay market value for, so I paid right around 76,000 pounds for that watch, so almost $100,000. The rose gold Aquanaut I paid 38,000 pounds for, so I think that's right around $50,000. The 5711A, so the steel Nautilus, I paid 51,000 pounds for that, and I'm selling that at the moment for 58,000 pounds. So with certain watches, you also need to know when to take your profits, and if you're just don't see a watch staying in your collection long term, then the way that I view things, I actually view watches as investments. Yes, they're passions of mine. Yes, I love them, but to me, it's a great store of wealth, which is why I have so much money in watches. And as I said, if I was to sell my entire collection, which I know obviously I wouldn't, but it's just to knowing that I could, and that, you know, if I did, I would make close to around 120 grand profit after wearing all these watches and getting such amazing experiences from them. So as I said, I have the rose gold Aquanaut and rose gold Nautilus. Those are sitting in the vault. Steel Nautilus I am selling. So technically I still own that watch, but I'm selling it. And one that I actually just sold was my Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, white dial, discontinued. This is actually one of the older references, so this was bought in 2016, and then the owner barely wore it, but either way it was serviced, buffed up, so basically brand new watch. And I bought it for 31.5K last May, and I actually just sold that watch for 42,000 pounds. Now the price of Royal Oaks recently, especially the rose gold Royal Oaks, have been skyrocketing. And as I said, I want a double balance wheel Royal Oak, which is, you know, a different league from just the regular one I had, but I want that in my collection, so I was kind of fine to let go of that just regular Royal Oak. So as I said, that was in my collection, which I've now sold. So let's see, the Hulk, Black Sub, Rose Gold Nautilus, Rose Gold Aquanaut, Steel Nautilus, and the Royal Oak. I think that covers for the most part the watches that I don't have with me anymore and why I don't have them. Let's get on to the rest of the watches that I have in this watch box. The first one I'll start off with is the one on my wrist. Now, this is my Timex Snoopy, and believe it or not, this is literally one of my favorite watches. Now, for me, a watch should make you feel something. And as I said, for example, when I look at my rose gold Nautilus, I look at that and I'm just like, this is perfection. Like, to me, that is watchmaking perfection. There's nothing that comes close to it, for me personally. You know, and that's why, for example, when I looked at my steel Nautilus, I looked at it and I was like, this is kind of janky. You know, this is kind of janky. The way the bracelet works, it's, you know, it's not like the steel Royal Oak where, you know, that thing is sturdy. That thing feels solid. No, the steel Nautilus, yes, it has a beautiful bracelet, but it just does not feel sturdy in the way that, for example, as I said, the rose gold one does. So with some of my watches I look at and I'm just like, this is perfection, this is class. And then some of my watches I look at and it just puts a smile, like a childish smile on my face. And this is one of those watches. So this is my 30-pound Timex Snoopy. I love and adore this watch. And This makes me feel the same way that I mentioned earlier to you. One of the watches that is on my waiting list, or one of the watches that I'm trying to get, is a Milgauss. I think the blue dial. This is only a few days ago I decided I want that watch. Something about that like orange lightning hand, like it makes me feel the same way that I feel when I look at my Timex Snoopy. So that is that watch. Now we'll start here, and this is my RM30. Now this watch I did buy directly from Richard Mille, and once again I'll pop the video right here so you can watch me picking it up and everything about that watch. Now I have this watch in a red strap, in a blue strap, and in a black strap. So at the moment I have red. I think my favorite is the baby blue. So yeah, what can I say about this watch? I think it is a bit of a piece of shit, if I'm being entirely honest. And this watch is around 150K, around $200,000. And I hope no one from RM watches this, because yeah, they're very strict on who they give watches to. Whoopsie. I like the fact that I have one of these in my collection, because, you know, at this point, as I said, owning AP's Nautilus, like basically owning every single Grail watch you could want. I think having an RM in your collection is a beautiful thing, and I love the fact that, you know, I can pop this out for the red strap. I bring it to RM, and they put in the baby blue and then the black, and you can mix it up and you can have fun with this watch. But like, it's just not a very comfortable watch to wear. It's just not a very practical watch to wear. You know, I'll put it on now, and it just, I think, you know, if you're a rapper or this or that, and I think, you know, as I said, I think, to be honest, if you have a new money style and, you know, you like wearing the Gucci hoodies with the logos, and, you know, you drive a BMW i8, well, I was gonna make an i8 joke, I can't do it. You can leave that in. Okay. Yeah, and you know, like I'm not the type of guy to ever own a Lambo, for example. Like, I'm more into like Aston Martins, or like I would rather have like a McLaren, or just like, people just have different, or a Porsche, you know, like, or I would just much prefer to have a Porsche 992. Like, everyone just has a different style, and like, this is a fun watch. You know, sometimes I like wearing it with a t-shirt, and it's, you know, just a bully watch. Like, I remember even times when I didn't own an RM, I'd be wearing, you know, my Steel Nautilus or something, or I'd even be wearing my Royal Oak, or you know, one of my other nice watches, and you know, that it's a beautiful, timeless piece. But then the person next to me would be sitting with a big boy RM at a super nice restaurant. And although I would take, you know, the watches that I had at that time over the RM any day, sometimes you do want to just be a bit of a big boy bully. So this is my RM30. Now this will always stay in my collection, because the thing is with RM is you really can't mess with your relationship with them. And yeah, the next sort of watch that I want from RM would be an 1104, 1105, but even though I've spent $200,000, I'm still a tiny client to them. They're not gonna give me an 1105 or an 1104, but I'm working towards it. That, or even the 6702, it's such a childish kid watch, but something about it, I love it. So I will definitely own another RM, and I do retract my statement about it being a shit watch. I think it's an incredible watch. I think the craftsmanship that goes into it, and you know, everywhere in my house I've got different watch books. So I've got watch books on my coffee table, in my living room, on my 4th floor, like literally throughout my house I've got different watch books. And you know, I always just sit here and marvel at the Richard Mille brand book, and just everything that this company has achieved is nuts. I love the brand. I love how not seriously they take themselves, especially Richard Mille himself. You know, I was in there the other day and I was speaking to their head operations manager or something like that. Like, basically, like, I got super lucky to meet him, and funnily enough, he actually was in marketing, so we kind of bonded over marketing and advertising and this and that. And you know, he told me that Richard Mille himself is exactly how you would think. You know, eccentric, loud, does not do handshakes, doesn't care if he's never met you, will go in for the hug. And I love that about the brand. Like, I love so many things about the brand. So, you know, when I say that it's a piece of shit watch, I don't actually mean it. Okay. But you give me a Daytona that costs 1/10 of the price compared to that, I take that any day. So that is my RM30. Moving on to this piece right here. This is probably one of my favorite pieces. Now this right here is the 60th anniversary day date, and this I got at retail, so I think I paid 28,000 pounds for it, so like $37,000. You know, correct any conversions. Tristan will drop everything here and the prices of everything and whatnot that I paid for in pounds and dollars. And I was originally gonna get the chocolate dial for this. And my point of reference at Rolex, I've built an incredible relationship with Rolex over the years, been a great customer of theirs. So basically all of the Rolex pieces I have are actually at retail. So basically, yeah, as I said, my point of reference there He basically told me, look, you're a good client of mine, so I have to advise you on the best thing that I think possible for you, knowing your collection, knowing your character, your personality. And he went, please trust me, hold off, and I will try to get you a green dial 60th anniversary. And I am so freaking glad he did. This watch is pure class. The green dial, the Roman numerals, everything about it. I'm so happy that I ended up listening to him, waiting, and eventually getting this piece. Now, little did I know that this watch would go up to, at the moment, I think around 37,000 pounds. So as I said, I paid 28, I think, and this watch is around 37, 38 in the market, and I see it going well over 40, especially once they discontinue it. Now, with my pieces, anything that I get at retail, I'll never sell, because for me, I would just feel like an idiot selling a watch that I got at retail, knowing full well that in 5 or 10 years, I would just end up buying that watch again, but having to pay market value for it. There's a really cool video, I think by GQ or something, of this Italian entrepreneur that has like a 400 piece watch collection. I see myself as that. So for me, you know, really there's no point in selling my pieces that I get at retail. Things that I buy at market value, I'm more than willing to shift and move and this and that, because as I said, I bought it at market value. So this watch is one of my favorite pieces. You hold your own absolutely anywhere. And as I said, there's a big difference between having the 60th anniversary dial and just having a regular chocolate or white dial. As I said, absolute class. Now this next watch right here is the Rolex Pepsi. As I said, I'm not gonna say the references for you guys, but when Tristan does the B-roll, he'll throw in all the references, the retail prices, and then what I paid for them. So as I said, another amazing piece that I got at retail. What can I say about this watch? Timeless classic. Actually, before I managed to get this watch, I was looking at a vintage Pepsi, and then once again, I'm so happy I got the call up for it. This watch is probably a watch that I wear maybe once a month or something like that. And it said, it's tough when all your watches are at the vault and just moving things around and this and that and letting insurance know. And it is a bit of a pain, but when I wear this watch, I love it, super comfortable. And so what can I say? Like it's just a timeless classic. I think I paid around 7,100 for this watch at retail. Market value on this at the moment is around 15,000. Oh, and in regards to the two watches that Kieran and my buddy have, those were both bought at retail as well, the Hulk and the Black Sub. Moving on to the next piece. This is the Patek Philippe 5205. Yeah, 5205, I think. I'm gonna have to check that. Yep, this is the 5205G. So this is white gold. So this is actually the first white gold watch I have. Now, white gold, and even more so than that, is platinum, and we'll get into that in a second, it's just baller. You know, like when you're so rich that you don't even need people to know how rich, you know what I mean? Like when I see someone with, as I said, not only a white gold Day-Date, for example, or a white gold Daytona, or you know, anything like that, but then on top of that, platinum, which we'll get onto in a second, that's proper money. You know, that is real money right there. So I actually initially wanted to get this piece in rose gold. As you guys can probably tell, I like my rose gold. So rose gold and black strap. And yeah, I was asking Patek Philippe, and they just couldn't source me one. So this I actually bought at retail. I paid 38,600 for, I believe. And the reason I did this was because I knew there was a price increase coming to Patek Philippe. So there was going to be a 10% price increase, so it would have been an extra basically $4,000. Now I actually bought this watch on the 30th or the 31st of September, the day before the price increase. So apparently this variation, the white gold, is actually harder to get than the rose gold. But these pieces aren't like, you know, the Nautilus or something. Like it's, if you want one, you within 2 months, within 3 months, you will get the color variation that you want. So this isn't necessarily a hard piece to get. What this is a piece that holds value amazingly. So the way that I saw it was, look, if I can have a watch that literally, you know, tomorrow or next month, you know, at the time that I kind of made this plan, tomorrow or next month is going to increase in price by 10%, and I can buy this now, then, you know, it's a no-brainer, because I'm never going to lose money on this watch. But then now this helps me start to build a relationship with Patek Philippe. As I said, I have a really good relationship with Rolex, a relationship with Richard Mille. And by the way, guys, I don't buy into the whole, you know, buy a couple pieces you don't like to get that one you do like. For me, I'm totally more than happy to pay market value for a watch. But for me, it was about time that I got a little bit more mature piece, you know, something on a leather strap. And where else are you gonna go than Patek Philippe? I was also looking at Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reverso, but come on, this is just in another league. So as I said, that's why I went for this. And then now I am working my way to getting a rose gold Nautilus, which I already have, but at retail, which is I think around 45 grand. Because obviously once I get that, I'll sell the one that I bought in market value, and that knowledge at retail, like the other watches I've bought in retail, will stay in my collection for the rest of my life. So initially, this is more of like a bit of